Okay guys, this is the last video for your Section 3 Power Outline Notes on Sumerian Achievement. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and look at what we've got so far. We had our Power 1 Sumerian Achievements, then we had Power 2 about the invention of writing. Then we had another Power 2 about advances and inventions. We talked about some technical advances like the wheel, the plow, sewers, weapons, jewelry. Those are kind of like tools, those technical advances, things that they could use. And then we talked about some advances in math and science, such as a number system, studying nature and medicine, things like that. As we look on in our book, we see another big bold blue subheading that says the arts of Sumer. So we're going to go ahead, we're continuing that same outline, but this big blue subheading, remember, is not a Power 1, but it's a Power 2. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our outline, and you want to be sure that I know you can't see the rest of my Power 2s right here, but when on your paper, when you add your Power 2, you're going to want to be sure that they line up. Okay, put all of your Power 2s directly underneath each other. Your Power 3s from the last section should be indented just a little bit, so that shouldn't be any problem. Let's go back and read that paragraph. The Sumerian skills in the field of art, metalwork, and architecture, which is the science of building, are well known to us. The ruins of great buildings and fine works of art have provided us with many examples of the Sumerians' creativity. So this is saying that they actually have, we actually have some leftover artifacts from the Sumerian civilization that are good examples of their creativity and their art style and things like that. So I'm just going to add that here. I know it's not necessarily a main idea, but that paragraph does give us good information to tell us that artifacts from the Sumerian civilization tell us about their art and architecture. That does not need to be underlined, so I'm gonna underline that. Okay, and let's go back and look. If we go a little further in our book, we'll come to another smaller red heading that says architecture. So that's going to be a Power 3 under our Power 2 here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my outline, and I'm going to add that. Power 3 is architecture. I'm going to underline it. And let's go back and read about their architecture. Most Sumerian rulers live in large palaces. Other rich Sumerians had two-story homes with as many as a dozen rooms. However, most people lived in smaller one-story houses. These homes had 6 or 7 rooms arranged around a small courtyard. Large and small houses stood side by side along the narrow, unpaved streets of the city. Bricks made of mud were the house's main building blocks. So this paragraph talks mainly about the houses. And they had big houses and medium houses and small houses. So we will just say that I don't want to underline that. Sumerians built different size houses made of bricks, because that is important. They actually made their own bricks out of mud, and they used those bricks to build houses. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. City centers were dominated by their temples, the largest and most impressive buildings in Sumer. A ziggurat, which is a pyramid-shaped temple, rose high above each city. Outdoor staircases led to a platform and a shrine at the top. Some temples also had columns to make them more attractive. And we actually when we looked at that map of a city-state in the last section that we did, you kind of saw that ziggurat in the kind of center of the city-state, and it was definitely the biggest and most elaborate building. So we're going to add that to architecture here. Ziggurats were the largest and most impressive buildings. And remember that a ziggurat is a temple. Okay, so they put a lot of time and effort into those temples. If we go back, we're done with the architecture section. So as we go on in our book, then we see another small red subheading that says the arts. So we're going to go to our power outline, and we're going to add another power 3, the arts, and we're going to underline that. Let's go back and read. Sumerian sculptors produced many fine works. Among them are the statues of gods created for temples. Sumerian artists also sculpted small objects out of ivory and rare wood. Sumerian pottery is better known for its quantity than its quality. That means that there was a lot of it, but that it wasn't necessarily very well made. Potters turned out many items, but few were works of beauty. So they didn't put a lot of time into them, but they created a whole bunch of them. So this is talking mainly about sculptors who made statues and pottery. So we're going to add that here. It's one thing we need to know about the art is sculptors made statues and pottery. Okay. Jewelry was a popular item in Sumer. The jewelers of the region made many beautiful works out of imported gold, silver, and gems. Earrings and other items found in the region show that Sumerian jewelers knew rather advanced methods for putting gold pieces together. So we're going to add that here. Sumerians made jewelry out of precious materials. Those precious materials, instead of just listing them all, I'm going to say precious materials, but that was like your gold and your silver and your gems and things like that. Things that we would consider really nice or expensive. Okay. Cylinder seals are perhaps Sumer's most favorite works of art. These small objects were stone cylinders engraved with designs. When rolled over clay, the designs would leave behind their imprint. Each seal left its own distinct imprint. As a result, a person could show ownership of a container by rolling a cylinder over the container's wet clay surface. People could also use cylinder seals to sign documents or decorate other clay objects. So another thing that they had were cylinder seals to kind of mark their works. So they would create this seal a seal out of a cylinder clay, and then they would roll it over, kind of like you would roll a rolling pin over some dough. You would roll this clay seal, or you would roll the seal over the clay, and then it would make an imprint in it, and that would be kind of like signing something. Okay. Some cylinder seals showed battle scenes. Others displayed worship rituals. Some were highly decorative, covered with hundreds of carefully cut gems. And that's just kind of telling you that those seals were all different. So I'm just going to add here a variety, or let's don't do that so you don't have to erase. We'll just put cylinder seals to mark their works that were all different. They had lots of different kinds of cylinder seals. The Sumerians also enjoyed music. Kings and temples hired musicians to play on special occasions. Sumerian musicians played reed pipes, drums, tambourines, and harp-like stringed instruments called lyres. Children learned songs in school. People sang hymns to gods and kings. Music and dance provided entertainment in marketplaces and in homes. So we're going to add that here, talking about music and dance. Music and dance were very important to the Sumerians. They learned it in school, right? They used it to worship the gods. They had all kinds of different instruments, and it was entertaining, okay? So they enjoyed their music. And that is the end of our power outline for section 3. Be sure that you have taken really good notes. If you want to check and make sure your outline looks right, then you can look on the outline that I left for the sub. Be sure you complete your tree map and do your quiz.